As darkness continues to cover Nigeria, things getting worse and worse, Ninas had repeatedly told the public, demonstrated that the Unitary Constitution of Nigeria is the source of all the misery, is the source of all the instability, is the source of all of what we have been lamenting, whether it's the killings or infrastructural decay or corruption or impunity, everything. Therefore, we invite you to listen to other voices that are not necessarily associated with Nina, so that we can see that there's a consensus that is sufficient to lead us to where we solve this problem now before it consumes us. Because if we don't solve that problem, it will consume Nigeria, and that means Nigerians are only going to go from where they are now into the inferno that Nigeria will become if the problem is not solved. Let's listen to those other voices, and we come down to what shall we do. There may be some of them who will even tell us. Let's take a listen.
49 people selected to write a constitution, wrote a constitution. 40 people in the Supreme Military Council promulgated a constitution for us. Under General Abubakar, government in which I served, I was in executive council. I never saw the draft constitution, and I was Minister of Information. It was my responsibility to publicize it to the country. On the day of swearing in of Obasanjo, we didn't have a copy of the constitution. I didn't know who was printing it, and my ministry was supposed to pay for the printing. And Obasanjo was sworn on a constitution that had not been read by anybody. And the National Assembly could not be constituted until 4 days after he swearing in, because there was no clean copy of the constitution. You cannot build on quicksand. And the country cannot live on falsehood.
Dare to tell this nation today that this is the problem. This constitution can never give us progress. This constitution can never give us peace. This constitution can never give us unity. And unfortunately, most of us in this National Assembly, we don't have the spine to face what we need to give this republic to have peace and progress. What do I mean? This constitution has 68 items. 68 on the exclusive list. This constitution has only 12 on the concurrent list, and those 12 are written so nebulously, so fraudulently, that you know that the intention is to even undermine those concurrent lists. The formal name of this republic is Federal Republic of Nigeria. Unfortunately, we don't run a federalist system in Nigeria. Otherwise, what is so unique about all those things that are in the exclusive list? In this chamber, we try to federalize the police system. In this chamber, we failed. Every crime is local. And the solution to every crime is local. The earlier that senators in Nigeria summoned the courage to say, we should not continue to deceive ourselves.
So I'm saying that the first problem is that if this country wants to work for everybody, is to look at this constitution and say, this constitution, you have done your worst. Because after all of the people that have been saying, well, they went around the country before the constitution. No, they are liars. The military cannot give us a constitution. It's a constitution produced under the army green. So when people talk about this constitution as something that we need, I tell people, why are people talking as if the basic education and knowledge that you have is lost on them? How can the military give us a constitution? If we told you that the military cannot bear rule, how then are you still using the constitution given to it by the military? Because according to law, they shouldn't be in office in the first place. So everything that comes with the military, you have to try and set it aside. So the first thing we need to do is to sit that constitutional conference or sovereign national conference that they are afraid of. We will have it. We will have all that they are afraid of. We will have a constitution. I'm a patriot. I have recommended on different platforms, even in the international media, we cannot have this country break up. So what will make this country work for all is to first of all throw away this wicked paperwork, burn it and throw it out, and sit. We need about 6-8 months or even 1 year to get a proper document that addresses majority problem, minority problem, and the constitution must also make it sacrosanct. For instance, we are going into an election. We had our last census 2006, disputed census. We don't even know the population of the country. We have been dealing with estimates.
Right.
How do you even solve the problem of the country
Kanu,
without data to work with?
What he's saying is relevant, but not in this case. It's relevant when we talk, I don't know when you were there, when we talk about systems.
Yes, my lord. If I may say something, my lord, with the greatest respect to my lord.
Hold it. You haven't even know what I'm talking about.
I know, okay.
That most of our headache is in the system.
Yes, my lord. And if I may go further.
And then, well, we will explore that later on when we have this special hearing.
As the court pleases, as the commission pleases. My lord will even know more when we discuss this exhibit. The most important thing, my lord, is that some people appear to be too decent for this generation.
Structural, the word is structural injustice.
Yes, my lord.
I asked you people to make their research. I'm conducting mine, and I want to compare your investigations and research with mine. Structural injustice. The headache we have is structural.
Yes, my lord.
And in the system itself.
Yes, my lord.
Men will come and go, the system still
remains. Yes, my lord.
That the constitution that we have at present is a fraud. It is a fraud because it starts with we the people, when in fact you and I did not sit anywhere to design this constitution. By that fact alone, it is based on a lie and it is based on a fraud. In the past, people could ignore that because Olusegun Obasanjo was a fair-minded man and he was a patriot. Because Umaru Yar'Adua of blessed memory was a fair-minded man and a patriot. Because Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was a fair-minded man and he was a patriot. So people could afford to live with a fraudulent constitution. But now today we are seeing that a fraudulent constitution in the hands of people who have hidden agendas, who hate our country, who are beholden to Niger, Mali, Chad, and other foreign countries. They have nothing to offer us.
Federation. And do you know that even the constitution that we use today, which is the 1999 constitution, denies what is called in law autochthony. In other words, there is no referendum, there is no plebiscite. The people of Nigeria did not vote to say, this is the constitution we want. It was imposed on us by a military decree, and yet it remains the ground norm. I mean, what a misnomer. We are not in a dictatorship, but we are running a constitution that we didn't vote for. And our administrative units have been carved on the basis of that constitution, supplanting our regional.
The constitution that operates in Nigeria today is a fraudulent, mischievous document foisted on Nigeria by a departing military junta. In fact, it is Decree 24 of 1999, which will have been a mere transitional instrument for governing a country of the stature and standing of Nigeria within the international community. I would have thought that the first item on the agenda of the government that came to power in 1999 was to address the issue of that constitution, its legitimacy. Because, like the Patriots observed, it told a lie against itself by saying that we Nigerians, under God, have agreed to live together, blah, blah, blah. There was no time when we were asked that question. And Nigeria, I believe, still requires what lawyers call an autochthonous constitution. A constitution that that captures the needs and interests of the Nigerians. A constitution that finds legitimacy in the eyes of the citizens.
Our present extant constitution is an imposition of the military. A Supreme Military Council that was not elected by anybody, that did not respect any known parameter in its recruitment except seniority in the army, that was lopsided in terms of its geographical identity of membership, imposed a constitution, enacted it like a legislation. It was not subjected to a plebiscite, it was not subjected to a referendum. In law, you say it's not autochthonous because the people did not agree that the 1999 constitution is their constitution. We didn't vote for its approval. So it's not cognizable in law as a valid constitution. It has been imposed of us by sheer force. And no government has had the courage to subject it to a national plebiscite. And if you do, most Nigerians will say this is not our constitution. We've created local government and state administrative structures that do not obey any known parameter. We've taken away the sovereignty of natural resources from our people and concentrated in an omnibus and amorphous federal government.
Wole Soyinka, as a man of knowledge, has just expressed the fact, unlike individuals that parade themselves as professors of constitutional law and constitutional lawyers, senior advocates, and the rest, who still continue to defend the 1999 constitution as if it doesn't matter the source, it doesn't matter that it's a forged document, by claiming that the people made it and it has been shown that the people didn't make it, in a suit that was filed on behalf of Anthony Naro, Wole Soyinka, Bishop Bonigi, Dokubo Asari, Ralph Wazurike, and a couple of others, Alhaji Yerima Shetima, who just gave that ultimatum. Yeah, he was part of the signatory to the lawsuit that was filed on their behalf by the Secretary General of the Lower Niger Congress.
We are victims of the lie that we call our own, the social contract, which is another name for the Constitution. We say we in Nigeria gave this Constitution to ourselves. We didn't. It was imposed. And it's not working. It's centralized. And the good things of life are not available for Nigerians. And they are crying. And you begin to blame them. You don't blame victims. You blame the system that produced the victims. This constitution is not made by Nigerians. It's imposed. A federal constitution should be truly a federal constitution. You don't centralize everything. Nobody can fix this system. It's like putting square peg in round hole. It wouldn't work. It's not Buhari's fault, or Jonathan, or the previous ones. They were handed, and still being handed, instruments, i.e. the Constitution, that cannot work the way it is. Let us do an agreement. Constitution is an agreement that we agree to live together by these rules which we will spell out about governance. This current one is a fraudulent one, and it's giving us victimhood because we never did it, and they say we did it. If somebody say you did something that you not do, is that not a lie? We went to court, the case is in court, praying the court to say, look, the Nigerian people never did it. The court kept adjourning, part of the problem we have. The case is still in court. Inauro started it. A lot of distinguished men and women up and down this country have their signature there. The case has not been taken.
All right, we'll also anchor at that point. Dr. Amos Akingba is in ADECO and Afenifere Chieftain. We appreciate your talking to us this morning.
It's my great pleasure.
Let us be honest with ourselves. We lawyers say you cannot build something on nothing. The Constitution, the 1999 Constitution, is a constitution that I believe we should jettison completely because it does not augur well. After 17 years, it has created more problems for us in Nigeria.
We are running into trouble. We are inching there, and time is not in our favor. And I'm not tickled by what the National Assembly is doing. They are not being fair to themselves. They are not being fair to us. They claim to be amending the Constitution. What are they amending? And I want to repeat it. Do you amend something that is not amendable? When you want to amend the Constitution, by the way, Lati, where do you start? You start from the preamble. We the people. Oh yes, they have to amend it. Why are they running away from it? If they cannot amend the preamble, if the preamble is not amendable, then it means the Constitution is not amendable. Come on. They have to start from it. Do you start reading your letter from the back page? Do you? No, they have to start from the preamble. That means the preamble is fake. We the people, who are the we? When did we meet? And why can't we do it? I'm studying the constitutions of the world. And I say this also with every sense of humility. There's no constitution that is near as fake, near as deceitful, near as make-believe in nature and in content as the constitution, as what we call the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. What are they amending? I challenge them, and I challenge the National Assembly, and they must answer this question. When you are amending, you first of all start from the preamble. Because if the people didn't meet and they put it there by the respected or by the Abdul Salam military government, they say, we the people. You must first amend it.
We have made many false starts in the past. We have steadily become impatient with democracy, its principles and practice, as we demand instant results. But past failure should not discourage us from embracing new vistas or perspectives that will guarantee our survival. Without reinventing the wheel, therefore, let me state very clearly that the principles I've been talking about include, but certainly not limited to, building and compacting a truly people-led and people-driven constitution that they will own and defend against political predators of any form. This is the basic foundation that when you involve the people in the process, they understand it, make their inputs, see the document as their own, not only women, and not only will they defend it, but it will also guide their political actions, assignments, and realignments.
Do we want to continue in this union? If the answer is yes, and nobody is going to go to answer that question on behalf of any group, the Yoruba will have to decide in-house, and the Voice of Reason has said so in the past. The Yoruba will have to decide in-house in a referendum, conducted however they do it, to first commit to wanting to continue. So also the other blocks. The two organizations I'm associated with, the Movement for New Nigeria is a aggregation of all the groups that are saying this is not working for us. Many are saying, are we to go to renew our enslavement by way of another election under the Constitution? If we go, they will have another 4 years. Don't let us deceive ourselves. There may be people who want to be governor and senator. We're not anarchists. We say, let those already elected remain where they are. Let us undertake this emergency reconstruction, which is like moving Nigeria into the operation theater.
Before we discuss what type of constitution, we must identify those who will be part of Nigeria. We can't go to have a constitution when it is not clear what the conceptual arrangements will be between one group and the other. Having said that, my own view is that Nigeria is a failed state. So the creative energy of Nigeria is trapped in this pyramid where somebody at the top, called the president, he signs everything. So the energy to revamp this process is what BOR is about. We need to have creative energy.
So what are our shared core values? If you ask the Americans, they talk of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We don't have one. And it is when we begin to identify our shared core values that we begin to build a nation. What we have right now is a state held together at gunpoint. And when the state When the state begins to oppress the citizen, there will be cries of marginalization, there will be secessionist and separatist agitation, there will be insecurity. Now we have set up Nigeria to be a place where the state is more powerful than the citizen, and the state is oppressive. We need to retrace our steps. Quite often, Nigerians ask, which is the way forward? And I say, if you are moving in the wrong direction, you shouldn't be going forward. You should make a U-turn.
God help us. We've heard it from different known voices, known faces, known quarters. We have also heard from Professor Anthony Akinwale that says the solution to the problem is to make a U-turn. Nigeria has been traveling on the wrong road since 1966, since the truncation of the federal constitutional basis of Nigeria. Everything has become what they have become just because we cling on to that unitary constitutional arrangement. The solution to the problem is to make a U-turn, like Professor Akinwale advised, and we can tell you authoritatively that the NINAs, the propositions, the 5-point proposition of the NINA's Constitutional Force Majeure Proclamation of December 16, 2020 presents us a framework, a strategy, and a process for making that U-turn now. Even in the midst of the elections, the botched 2023 presidential election, even in the midst of all the confusion going on now, we can solve this problem by using that NINA's framework before it's too late. We stop here.